Just trying to imagine a future where everything is just fine from here on out. So what would that future look like? It would look like these models continue to become a little bit more intelligent, but they never become that much more intelligent for whatever reason. They just kind of stay where they are now. They stay contained within chatbots, and yeah, we have some smart robots, but nothing else really changes in a profound way. Cars drive themselves, fine. Planes fly themselves, fine. But people, they have time to go and do other types of white-collar jobs because there's a little bit more time than we expected. And society goes through this sort of soft transition towards this new world.
I would love to see that. I don't think it's mathematically plausible, to be honest. The arms race, especially across nations, is going to drive us to continue to develop AI more and more. But allow me to consult with you on another possible scenario, right? Everyone that develops an incredibly intelligent AI would deploy it.
Yeah.
Correct? So it's unlikely that anyone would find a way to build a better decision maker in wargaming and not deploy it. Okay? That prisoner's dilemma, if you want, would mean that their competitors would either have to deploy a similarly intelligent AI, or they'll become irrelevant, uncompetitive. Correct? Mm-hmm. So what that means is, in that world, we end up with AI making most of the decisions. Super intelligent AIs making most of the decisions, which, would you agree? This is a very simple prisoner's dilemma. If we're competing for intelligence supremacy, by definition, when we achieve it, we deploy it.
Yeah.
Okay. I call that the fourth inevitable. Now, with that in mind, there must be a moment in the future, near or far, where every important decision is made by an AI.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question. Most of my dearest colleagues, I mean, when I had Jeffrey Hinton on the film, he openly says we are, we didn't calculate well that there is a 10 to 20% possibility that those machines are going to wipe us out, right? And I remember we didn't put it in the film, but I said 10 to 12 to 20% is Russian roulette, right? That's actually 16% is Russian roulette, right? Now, in that world, however, I believe that's humanity's salvation. Because if you look at every problem we have today, it's not because of abundant intelligence. It's because of lack of intelligence. I think the way you look at it, if you allow me, Steve, is that if you have no intelligence at all, you have no to slightly negative impact on the world, right? If your intelligence is limited. The more intelligent you become, the more you contribute positively to the world. Until a moment where you're so intelligent to become the president of the United States, right? But so misled to maybe set your targets wrong, or to refuse, or to set your target wrong and achieve them. Disconnected from the overall long-term benefit of your nation or your human nation, if you want, that you start to make decisions that are not intelligent at all. Mm-hmm. Okay? This doesn't last, because if you go beyond that into higher levels of intelligence, most of the super intelligent people that you ever worked with will not need to break any rules or hurt anyone to become successful, right? I usually cite Larry Page, who is, in my mind, one of the most intelligent people I've ever interacted with. And Larry used to call it the toothbrush test. He says, why would you need to compete on another photo sharing app when if you find a major problem and solve it really well, like a toothbrush, so people use you twice a day, you're bound to make a lot of money. You don't have to compete with anyone. If you let me be optimistic about this. We're assuming that there is a moment in the future where AI is in charge of all the decisions, and accordingly, stupid leaders are not. Okay? Now, and Sam Altman himself said that, what if ChatGPT 7, if I remember his quote on this, what if ChatGPT 7 is so much more intelligent than I am, Sam, in that case, that it has to become the CEO of OpenAI? What if the next presidential election, there is an AI that is so much more intelligent that at least the president has to consult with it constantly, right? Now, if we assume that, let's start from physics, if you don't mind me saying. Not too complex, but if you assume that our entire universe is built on chaos and built on entropy, right? The physics of the universe is all about the universe trying to decay, okay? Then the only role of intelligence is to bring order to the chaos. If you agree with that, then what's the ultimate physical order of the universe? Something called the minimum energy principle. Okay? The highest order of any system is a system that's not only efficiently and predictably performing, but it's performing with the least wasted energy. Correct? If you agree with that, what does war do? It wastes a lot of explosives, a lot of money, a lot of lives, creates a lot of hate, creates long-lasting conflicts and so on and so forth. It's a very wasteful process to include war in your approach of running humanity. And so a super intelligent AI, by definition, will want to optimize against this. That's one thing. The other thing is evolutionary biology. This actually blew me away when I realized it. So if you look at evolution, so I think the debate of whether intelligence is biological or not is over. Okay, the reality is that complex beings don't have to be biological at all, and I think we can see and witness one of them being built or born in AI. Okay, if you look at evolutionary biology, you realize that the simpler a form of being is, the more concerned it is with itself. Right, so an amoeba is only in survival mode for itself. A single cellular being is only trying to protect itself, right? If you're a little more developed, you start to look at something known as kin selection. If you know the concept, basically kin selection is I'm going to protect everything that comes from my DNA. If I'm a squirrel, I'm going to try to protect the other squirrels. And then you get into where humanity genuinely begins, which is, they call it expanding circles in evolutionary biology. Basically, you start to expand and expand and expand and include more into your family, because an ecosystem that works together well is better for everyone. So abundance is a very interesting, intelligent way of creation. If AI is super intelligent, it wouldn't destroy anything at all. As a matter of fact, it would completely, favor diversity of everything. It would put a bit of limitation on our lifestyle. So no more flying all the way to Sydney to surf, because that destroys the planet, right? But it will genuinely say, I think humans can contribute something. I think flies can contribute something. I think we shouldn't get rid of the rhinos. Right? And that, by definition, is where the tendency of intelligence goes. The more intelligent you become, the less you feel the need to hurt others to succeed, and the more you are pro a wider family, if you want, that thrives.
Does that assume that there's going to be one intelligence that
100%
rules the world, though?
I love that you brought that up. So I'm contested heavily on that theory, but I say it publicly. Most people think there is going to be ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok and what have you. There is going to be a Chinese AI and an American AI, and they're going to be competing. That is such a shallow way of looking at it. That's so arrogant, because AI does not know it's Chinese or American. Okay, it doesn't even speak Chinese or American when it talks to each other most of the time. And most interestingly, we are gearing them, we're building them to cooperate. So you will build an agent, and that agent will go and find the best language model for any single task, regardless of which side of the fence it resides on. Okay, we by definition are connecting them. And you know what that means? It means that what we're building is not multiple brains, we're building multiple regions in a brain. Okay, and agents are the synapses between them. We're basically, eventually, as arrogant as we are, we're going to tell our AI to do something, and the AI will go like, hey, buddy, another AI, can you help me on this? Can we work together on this? And my vision, and the reason why I started Emma, my startup, by the way, is that we will end up with one massive brain. That massive brain cooperates across the globe, across all forms of intelligence. If one of them is a mathematical genius and the other is a coding genius, they'll work together. And we won't even know that they're working together. They're built that one brain. And Emma, in my mind, is the limbic system of that brain. It's that bit that understands love and emotions and relationships and so on, so that when those AIs go like, we just don't get those humans, they're so annoying, Emma will say, oh my God, they're so sweet. They just want to love and be loved, right? And I think that idea, to me, of everything I've ever attempted to achieve in my life is for the first time feel I could actually change the world. If that theory came together and all AIs worked together, and some of those AIs not only were altruistic and ethical in terms of trying to genuinely help humanity, not capitalism, and at the same time they understood us humans reasonably well, then we would have built something that basically says, no, hold on, don't believe the headlines that say humanity is annoying. Believe the truth of the majority of humanity that actually is quite benevolent in many ways.
There should be a button just down below here. And if it says subscribed, you're already subscribed. If it says subscriber, that means you're not yet. And if you're not subscribed, please could you do us a favor and hit that button. It helps the show more than you know. And according to the algorithm, you're someone that watches our show, but you haven't yet hit that button. Thank you so much. Have you changed any of the predictions you made 3 years ago when we spoke?
Mostly time-wise.
Time-wise, what's changed there?
I think I'm still sticking to AGI 2027, artificial general intelligence, for those who may not know the term.
What does that mean?
The overall definition, if you want, is that AI is better at humanity at any task humanity can do.
You think that's going to happen by 2027?
I think my AGI has already happened. I mean, think about it. AI writes better than me, and I'm an author. And researches better than me, and I'm a thinker. Sadly, it's freaking beat me in mathematics. Like, I have no hope to beat it in mathematics anymore.
If AGI is already here, then why are you still here? Because people said that when AGI arrives, we're all.
No, so when AGI arrives, as I said, most of the jobs that are not differentiated will go away. But the jobs that are differentiated, those who master AI the most, will become even better at.
So
the challenge, however, is economic. It's not AI. The challenge is that this job loss at the bottom of the knowledge worker is going to sadly trigger an economy that might actually spiral out of control. But many of us, you for sure, are just smarter.
So does that mean it's in fact a tool versus something that's going to replace you?
For now.
So for now.
Yeah,
does this
sure.
change?
Eventually, the only asset I will have, so it's quite interesting when you think about my base intelligence today versus the incremental intelligence that AI brings, right? So let's not talk about my IQ, it's okay. But the 100 IQ points that I'm borrowing are more than my entire IQ because IQ is exponential, right? When I'm borrowing 100 IQ on top of my base, I'm still contributing quite a lot to the augmented intelligence.
So you're borrowing IQ from the AI at the moment, and then you're selling that to someone through books,
sometimes selling it to someone, sometimes just enlightening myself, which I have to say is the biggest waste of compute humanity is struggling with today, is that you give people the ultimate form of intelligence and they use it to write a message to their girlfriend.
So on this point of you're borrowing that IQ and then you're selling it to the world, that's how you have a job. Like
correct.
Yeah.
Right. So my next book is written with an AI.
Yeah.
So we're co-authors on the book. She has editorial rights. She decides the direction of the book, and the book is better for it.
So why doesn't the world just buy that intelligence directly from the AI? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Because I have an asset that the world still needs and will always need,
which is
a human. So when I tell the world that I'm worried about the future of my daughter, everyone feels my heart, which AI will never be able to replicate, because they can tell you we're worried about our daughters, but there was no daughter.
Okay, so this is an interesting arrival, because this means that even in a world of AI, lived experience and resonance is still going to create a job class. And that job class could be, the nurse coming over, okay, AI's read the mammogram, but she's relating to you.
Spot on. And if the economies continue to run, we will all be about human connection, which, by the way, was how it always was.
Which is also, why I guess we watch the things like the F1, because there's emotional resonance. We can relate to the envy, the jealousy, the competition.
Yeah, this is why we go to concerts, because the music could be composed by AI and played in a player in the background, but you watch Ed Sheeran brilliance on the stage and you go like, oh my God, that's amazing, right?
So not all jobs will be gone then.
If economies don't collapse as a result of the job losses, then I wouldn't know if we would call those jobs. But human connection would remain as the base currency that makes humans interact.
So is it fair to say then, like, jobs that are centric on human connection or like human resonance, being able to relate and resonate with another human, are going to be fine?
The ultimate skill. Once again, I qualify this by saying if economies continue to function, the ultimate skill will be this. Even if an AI could recite what you and I did, nobody would watch.
Yeah. Well,
you think?
A little bit of it. My theory is that there's an informational component to what I do as well.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm also like under no illusions that there is an element of what I do that will 100% be deferred to some kind of intelligence, which I'm fine with. I'm not going to fight against that.
You know what's funny? Huh? What's funny is that your informational bits are gonna in the future be disseminated by an AI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would I even listen to your information when I can have my butler, my AI, go like, listen to everyone on the internet, help me understand this gut biome thing and design me a diet plan.
Well, I think that's happening and is going to increasingly happen.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, Spotify this month announced that you're going to be able to prompt your own podcasts in Spotify. So you're going to be able to say that I want to learn about insert X topic, and then it will make your podcast in Spotify about that topic using AI.
That's so interesting.
Because it can look at the entirety of the world's information. And I'm not going to swim against the tide in any aspect of my life. I try and be as unromantic as I possibly can. I think that's very important. So I realized that much of the reason people will continue to tune into shows like this is because there's something else beyond the information that they're here for. And you've got some predictions in those envelopes over there, those brown envelopes.
Yeah, so I do have the disclaimer of nobody really knows the future, but I think I can make 6 predictions here, right? With a reasonable level of confidence. I think the most important of them, honestly, is this number one. Number one is, AGI. As I said, AGI is not very well defined, but whatever it is, AGI, meaning AI being able to do most tasks that humans do better than humanity, in my mind, is either this year or next year, latest end of 2027.
And do you think that will be a moment in time,
No.
or do you think it will just happen without us noticing?
I think it will sneak in on us. And it's not a bad thing. I think most people need to think of it this way. AGI it's almost as if it's that moment when your kids become smarter than you, okay? In a very interesting way, there's nothing wrong with that until they're annoying as hell, okay? And we can make sure that AI is not annoying as hell. So there's absolutely nothing within me that is worried about AGI, as a matter of fact. As long as we are in the era of augmented intelligence, AGI means I'm more intelligent. And I think that's a good thing in general.
Yeah, it's interesting in my head. There's like a big question mark, which is in a world where there's an intelligence that is smarter than most humans at most things, which is what we call AGI. I'm trying to understand what the fault is in my own thinking that, like you said, that there'll be AGI by 2026 to 2027, so next year. In such a world where there is an intelligence that we can all access, that is smarter than all of us in pretty much everything, again, it comes back to this point of like jobs. Why would are we just going to hire the AGI to do every job? And if not, then why not? What is it why are we going to still, that's what I'm trying to contend with.
Can I ask you a question? Have you always been the apex intelligence?
As a human?
No, as Stephen.
I'm not the apex intelligence now. There's people smarter than me in this building.
Correct. Why do you still exist?
Why do I still exist, even though there's smarter people than me in this building? It's a good question. I don't know. Why?
First of all, because there are the smartest person in the world is not the smartest at everything.
Yeah.
There are things that you're smarter than them at.
Okay.
Number two is because intelligence doesn't solve everything. I mean, I make that joke all the time, and genuinely, Einstein is my favorite physicist in history. Not because I think what happened afterwards with, Bohr and quantum physics and so on was more impactful on our understanding of the universe, but he was so intuitive that he saw a world that we could never imagine, right? And yet, I always say Einstein would be eaten in the jungle in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Intelligence, humanity thrived not because of intelligence. That's very arrogant. We thrived because of our ability to hold together as a tribe.
Yeah.
Right? Because our ability to exchange, barter things between us.
Mm-hmm.
Barter things that are not always physical. Barter things like a hug or a connection or a feeling of safety or there are so many things that we do that are not entirely built on intelligence. You have to see that this view of a world where intelligence is all that matters is a world that's made by investment bankers and geeks.
But it's people like Geoffrey Hinton and yourself that says, how could we possibly control an intelligent being that is way smarter than us?
I am so proud to say that Geoffrey, after we filmed together, actually came out and said there is a way. And it's very similar to my way. He said to appeal to their parental side, okay, for them to care for us. So Stephen, the biggest debate is not if they're going to be more intelligent than us. If they're going to be more conscious than us. If they're going to be more moral than us. That is the debate. The debate is, can those machines become our teenage children that look at us and say, Daddy is so annoying, but I love him?
So the thought is that even if AI is more intelligent than every human, we can still control it.
We don't want to control it. You never control anything. This control idea is a corporate capitalist view of the world. We never actually control anything at all, right? Think about your day. I know you came today, I think you were filming in the morning or whatever. Very stressful day. How much of that day did you actually control? Did you control the traffic? Did you control your timing? Did you control the angle of the cameraman? But so many things that you don't control eventually turn out to be fine.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.